Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wineman TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, aka Stan the Wineman, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And, still have the corks in them, that's funny. I was asked to review these wines on Stan the Wineman TV, and so, why not? This is Array Cellars. All they do is Chardonnay. That's it. They don't do anything else. Just Chardonnay. They are devoted to Chardonnay. They love it. It's all about getting the best Chardonnays out of Washington State. And in my career as a wine guy, I have noticed that Washington State is getting better and better at making Chardonnay. However, it is not their #1 varietal as far as quality and production. I mean, Saint Michel does a lot of the wineries do good Chardonnays, but they going up against California, Cali, some of those areas, I've been disappointed with them in the past. Now they are getting better, like I said, so I'm very curious to try these. I've never tried them. There's 4 different Chardonnays here. We're gonna rip through them, review them, and I'll tell you what I think about them, and then the rest is up to you. Remember, I review, the rest is up to you. Hey, I left that part out. Oh well. It happens sometimes. We're going to move right along to the Array Cellars 2011 Chardonnay. By the way, in 2010, their first release got a double gold in a wine competition. I think it was the Seattle Wine Awards. I'm not positive. But anyway, double gold means that every judge tasting the wines felt like it gave it a gold medal. So double golds are hard to get. That's actually the one medal that impresses me. Of all the medals, the double gold is a big one because that means every judge gave it a gold medal. So if you're looking at golds and silvers and all that, you take it for what it's worth. But when you see double gold, understand that everybody thought it was that good. Okay, so they got a double gold for their first Chardonnay they released, and now we're going to go on to the 2011 Columbia Valley Chardonnay. I believe they get some of this. Some of this is Dionysus out of Sagemore Vineyards. I think the price point is $22. I'm going to show you the label. There's some stiff competition now, like I said, in Chardonnay in Washington State at the $22 level. But not at the $22 level, but at the you get up into that you bring it together, Stan, bring it together. In the Chardonnay category, you have Beauty and a Beja are terrific Chardonnays. Forgeron does a good job. So more and more wineries are doing an excellent job. When I went on that little rant about Washington Chard, I'm talking about a few years ago, it was hard to find a good Washington Chard. Not so much anymore. So these people are trying to express Washington Chardonnay fruit in the best possible style. So let's see how they did. By the way, it's Blue Friday. Hawks play Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. Going to be a tough game. Philly's got a really aggressive offense, but Seahawks have one of the best defenses in the NFL, if not the best. So it's going to be a great game. I have full confidence in the Seahawks. My prediction, Seahawks 28, Philly 17. They're going to hold them to 17 points. They're going to just smother Sanchez. Let's see what we get on the nose. Sorry for the little sidetrack there. So I get a lot of pineapple notes. I get some apple. Just a touch of oak, and there's a little bit of butteriness on the nose. Is that a word, butteriness? Is it? Well, it is today. It has a really nice nose. It's clean, but it has a lot of those elements, like when you're drinking a Rombauer or a La Crema. It has some of those elements, but they're not overpowering, though. They're very, very delicate. Just a hint of butterscotch. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very nice. Very smooth. Get that buttery element underneath. I get the pineapple notes really aggressive on the finish. There's a little bit of apple and pear in there. The pear is more like an Asian pear, very subtle pear notes. And let me give it another whirl here. Good structure. I think that hits a nice mark between those people that are looking for ultra buttery Chards and ones with a little more finesse. I think this is a great food Chardonnay. Good acidity, but it's definitely held in check. I think there's like I said, this has very nice balance. I'm gonna go B+, A- on that. I really like that Chardonnay. 22 bucks is a fair price for what you're getting, and yeah, I like it. Now these have been open since yesterday, but that's why I did this video early today, because I wanted to make sure I got the best out of these Chardonnays. By the way, it never hurts to breathe the Chardonnay either, if you've ever wondered that. Sorry about being so disjointed. I usually don't do them this early in the day, but I wanted to get these done, and now everything's coming together. I feel much better about things now. Wow. Well, unedited, what can I do? I'm just going with it. This is the Array Cellars. Is that Array Cellars? Yeah, Array Cellars 2011 Chardonnay Dijon clone, which is a very, very well-known clone for Chardonnay, Yakima Valley. Now the symbol on the front, I forgot to mention that. Let me see if you can see those symbols. That represents earth, wind, and fire. In other words, the winemaker and owner are trying to achieve all the elements of the earth in their Chardonnay. Now, I was going to do a earth, wind, and fire music in the background, but I didn't have time to do that, and I don't have any earth, wind, and fire music on my iPod anywhere. I don't have it. I'm not a huge fan of earth, wind, and fire. I mean, they're okay, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan. So this is a lot more toasty on the nose. Pears big time, whereas the first one was more pineapple driven. This is pear driven big time. Get a little bit of rosemary and tarragon on the backside, which I really find intriguing. And there's a butterscotch, just very slight butterscotch note coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. I have to tell you, I'm impressed. Again, good acidity, but held in check by the fruit. Pears come through. The little lemon on the back end of this one, but it still has nice balance, very creamy, but you know, it's not oaked. I mean, I wouldn't call this an oaky Chardonnay, but I wouldn't call it definitely not unoaked. There's oak influences there. The butterscotch kind of hangs, of buttery butterscotch notes, but not, when I say butterscotch, I mean the flavor of butterscotch, not the sweetness of butterscotch, if you can imagine that, if you can kind of put yourself together and understand what I'm saying there. Wow, like that Chardonnay a lot. Dijon clone, a lot of winemakers like to use the Dijon clone. They think, you know, and I see why. It is very, very beautiful Chardonnay. Good flavors. This one rolls in, I think I forgot to mention, $32. You know, you're getting up there for a Chardonnay, but, you know, man, people will spend 40 bucks on Rombauer all day. I don't, you know, I've tasted it, I understand why. This, you know, it's just very consistent. I think it made it in the top 100. It did make it in the top 100 in the Wine Spectator this year. Like I told somebody, it should make it every year, because every year it's the same Chardonnay. So if you're going to put it in one year, you better put it in every year, unless you have, you know, 100 wines that are way better than Rombauer Chardonnay. Anyway, get off that rant. This is a 2012 Celilo Vineyard Chardonnay, Columbia Gorge is the appellation. Celilo's a classic Chardonnay vineyard. A lot of, I know Columbia Winery, back when David Lake had it, he liked to use Solilo. St. Michel likes to use Solilo. It's very, very, there's a label again. All the labels are the same, by the way, just different. Let's give this one a little rinse. This may be the one with the Wente clone. Wente Winery down in Livermore, California. They actually have a clone named after them. They developed one, which is kind of interesting. This one also rolls in at $32. Let's see what we get on the nose. Wow. Again, that nice kind of butterscotchy pears coming through on the nose. A little bit of apple, not a lot, mostly pear. A little bit of butter coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. Oh, by the way, A- on that second one, sorry. A little more oak on this one. I sense a little bit more oak on this one. Pears come through. It's very toasty on the palate. A little more lemon on this one than the other ones. A little more interesting in the sense that it's got a lot brighter. There's pear. There's not as much butterscotch. I mean, right now the lemon notes are really lingering on the palate. Good balance. I'm not as enamored by this one as I am by the other two, but it's still a very good Chardonnay. A lot more citrus notes on this one. Pineapple comes through big time. I get more of the oak on this one than the other two, which is interesting to me. There's underlying buttery notes, but that citrus, that lemon really overpowers. And the acidity kind of pushes the oak up a little bit more on this one. It's a good Chardonnay. For 32 bucks, not so sure that it's the best one of the bunch. I'm going to go B- on that one. Let's move on to the next one. The Array Cellars 2011 Chardonnay, which is interesting, is 12. 12 was a really warm year. It's no doubt the vineyard, the Solilo vineyard, is a little cooler. So yeah. So this is a 2011 Chardonnay, Connor Lee Vineyard, Columbia Valley, and this also rolls in at $32. There you go. And Connor Lee is also a very well-known Chardonnay vineyard area. A lot of wineries like to get their Chardonnay from Connor Lee also. Let's see what we get on the nose. So again, we go back to the more buttery profile on the nose. Pears and pineapple. Ooh, got a really cool hit of nutmeg right there. Just incredible. I love it. Yeah, it just kind of popped on the end. Yeah, there's definitely some baking spices on this one. I love it. Let's see what we get on the palate. By the way, Chardonnay, #1 selling wine in the United States, the variety. And during the holidays, a lot of people like to drink Chardonnay. I notice Chardonnay sales kind of go up in around Christmas time. I think a lot of people just like sitting with their family, drinking Chardonnay while they're cooking, whatever, making candy. You know, a lot of people make divinity, fudge, all that stuff that makes us really fat, makes us have to go on a diet in January. You know, so Chardonnay's a big play during the holidays. Some people, of course, like to spend more money on their Chardonnay during that time period. So 32 bucks, you know, that's not a bad price point to be in. I have a hard time when you get up around $50 for a Chardonnay, because Chardonnays, for me, they go way too fast. I can drink a bottle of Chardonnay and before I know it, it's gone. Poof! Whereas a red wine, you know, not so much. Anyway, that's just me. Maybe, have you ever done that? Have you ever noticed that, does Chardonnay go quicker for you than a bottle of Cab? Let me know, make a comment. It's very interesting nose on this one. Let's see what we get on the palate. This has the oak too, you can sense it, but this has a little bit more going on the palate. It's a little rounder. It has a nice kind of a buttery edge on top of, it's like buttered pears and apples. There's a little bit of pineapple on the finish. The citrus is there, but it's not overpowering. This has a nice balance. This is kind of it's kind of a cross between, you know, it's like that one and this one, and you know, there's a cross between those last three. Yeah, really nice finish. I mean, it just, the pears kind of really come through, and then right underneath is the pineapple. I don't get the baking spices now. Right now, right when I started talking about it, just a little bit of the baking spices coming through. Very nice Chardonnay. I like this one a lot. Yeah, there's a little bit of a dried herb component right up in the front of the palate. I'm going to go A- on that one. So I think it was B+, A-, A-, B-, A-. I think that's the way it went. There you go. Array Cellars. Good stuff. And there's a Chardonnay for everybody, really. If you like a citrus-driven Chardonnay, don't let that B- affect you. Go for it. Might be an A+ Chardonnay for you. You know, I really appreciate you watching. For all you homies out there, like I said in the last video, please encourage other people to watch and make comments for me. Please make comments. Matthew, all you sales reps that call on me and I'm reviewing your wines on my YouTube, make a comment. Encourage other people to watch. I need to get the viewership up on this. I really want to keep going with this. I'm not discouraged at all. I'm going to keep going. But also, any of you that have any input you want to give me, I really appreciate it. Remember, these are unedited videos, so you're getting the raw Stan the Wine Man. I'm not going back and changing some stuff. This was a little disjointed at the start of the video, but I think I came on strong in the finish. And, you know, I just try to be as honest as possible about the wines. I try to judge them from a retail standpoint, because I'm a retail guy and I'm always looking for wines based on what 80% or 90% of my customers will or will not like. After all the years I've been doing this, I've been in the business, wine business now for about 28 years. And I think through all that time, I've really tried to hone my skills on understanding what the majority of people may or may not like in a wine. But really, bottom line, it's all about you. It's all about your palate. Just remember that. And that, always be honest. Never like a wine because you have to. Be true to your palate and be honest. That way we keep the wines, that way we keep the snob out of wine. Thanks for watching. Cheers.